It's Newcastle versus Tottenham round 4 of the Carabao Cup, an opportunity for Tottenham to progress to the next round. Stay tuned to the very end because this is your match preview and I'll be providing you with my thoughts, predicted lineup, preferable lineup, combined 11, general thoughts, score prediction, also getting you involved too. We'll cover everything from Tottenham Newcastle on this game too. Stay tuned. If you're new, please like and subscribe. Let's get straight into it then. So I want to start with some team news that Thomas Frank provided ahead of this game on Wednesday. So Thomas Frank said that it's all good from the guys who played on Sunday. Dominic steps forward, it's step by step. Kuti, he's back on the pitch. Yeah, and also the same for a dog. He was saying, and when he says back on the pitch, he means back on the training field. So he said 3 steps forward was the words that Frank used in particular, so that's positive. Ahead of this game, I think it's going to be tough, but the way I look at it is you've got to beat the best to be the best. I can't stress that enough. You're better, in my opinion, to get these type of games out the way. I know it's really tough, and of course you want to progress, and people are like, hang on, wouldn't you want the harder teams at the end? But you'd rather get them out of the way and create a clear pathway, and this will be tough, you know. We shouldn't go there thinking we're going to roll Newcastle over, we're going to beat them comfortably because they're a top side, and it being at St James's Park has a big impact because Newcastle have a very good record there. I think their fans can be the 12th man at times, and I think you go to St James's Park, you've got a physical midfield, you know, Guimaraes, Tonali, Joe Linton, the crowd as well that do become the 12th man. It just kind of rubs off, even with injuries. I just think Newcastle's strong and they struggle away from home with not receiving, of course, that level of support with less fans in the stadium. I genuinely think that St James's Park is an intimidating and tough place for any side to go. We lost 6-1 there under Stellini, of course, in an awful place there compared to now. But the point is mentality. You know, you concede early, a crowd, I think, have a part to play, and it's in your heads. Or it's a tough place to go. When I have in my head the places I don't look forward to going for an away fam, that's up there. It was out there with Stamford Bridge and, for example, the Emirates. In different ways. Emirates is not intimidating, but of course, being Arsenal, Stamford Bridge, we never get a result there. Newcastle, because of that, really good atmosphere. Because they're passionate, Geordie's fans. They might be nuts, but they're passionate. Come on then, let's get into it. So on screen firstly would be my preferable lineup. So that means what I would do if I was Thomas Frank. Some people do get confused. So just to clear it up, if I was the top Nottingham manager, complete hypothetical, here would be my team. So I'd have Kinski in goal. I'm going to tell you what, I'd read out the 11 and I'll talk through it. It's Kinski in goal. I'd have Porro right back, Jed Spence left back, Van der Ven, Danso as the centre backs. Van der Ven left side of centre back, Danso right side of centre back. Midfield 3 of Paulinho as the 6. Bentancur as the 8, probably 2 6s. Bergvall as the more attacking-minded midfielder. Then Kudus right wing, Odebear left wing, and Colomwani up top. So that is what I would do. Let me talk you through it. I love Vicario. It's been an excellent week for him. Please not think this is dropping in by any stretch of the imagination, but I think you've got 2 goalkeepers, cup competitions, whoever you're playing, it's a good opportunity to rotate and rest the goalkeeper, but it's a good opportunity to keep Kinski on his toes and prove a point. He would have seen the great week that Vicario's had and want to prove a point and prove that the gap isn't here and the gap's there between them instead. So a big opportunity for him. Backline, I'm not going to spend too much time talking about. I think it does pick itself. Even if Doggy's back, I don't think it's any need to take the risk. Same with Christian Romero. I don't think it's really much of a case of changing too much. There will be rotation in this game, make no mistake about it, but it's about getting the balance right between rotating, maybe tiniest bit of resting potentially, but it's all about trying to get the result and move through to the next round. It's all about priorities, and that's what's difficult. When you don't prioritise anything, which I don't think we will, and try and juggle and compete on all 4 fronts, makes it difficult. Midfield then, how I'd have it is I would ditch the idea of a 10, and I'd just have kind of 2 ideas I've got. We just have a midfield 3, so you go 4-3-3, which I think I've done here, you know, along with what Newcastle play, and it just have a flat almost 3. And because that's the way the Newcastle play. And then in my head, I had Paulinho sitting as more of the 6, and then just having Bentancur and Bergvall sit in front. But another idea I had was Paulinho and Bentancur sitting, and then Bergvall sitting just in front. I think that'd work better if you had a Gray or Sarr in front. But I think what I'd go with Paulinho, the deeper one, then Bentancur and Bergvall sitting in front. Bentancur and Bentancur and Paulinho, as a 2, I think away from home is critical. And I look at our upcoming games. This one, Chelsea, these are games that both have to start properly together, if we're being totally honest with you, with experience and defensive know-how. It just makes so much sense. Bergvall, I look at him and think, got a little bit of aggressive player, can keep hold of the ball, and make no mistake about it, it's absolutely critical Tottenham win this midfield battle. It's going to be tough. Tonali, Joelinton, Guimaraes, as I've referenced already, and we need Paulinho and Bentancur for that. But we also need a little bit of pace, a little bit of flair, and a little bit of creativity. And I've opted for Bergvall over Sarr purely because of physicality. It was a tough decision. Forward line then, Mohamed Kudus, of course, on the right hand side, no real discussion there, just because a case of where he starts more than, if he starts, I think. Odegaard go on that left hand side, did think about playing Richarlison there, but I think Odegaard is a pacey winger and could cause Newcastle a lot of problems. Reminder, both their fullbacks, Livramento and Hall, are out injured, so I think we could really test them. This game's 1 in midfield and it's 1 down the flanks. I'd have Colomwani up top, really impressed me in the last game. I don't think he will start, which we'll get onto when I predict the team, but he impressed me, so that's what I like to see, build on that positive performance and really show what he's got even more. But switching over then, on screens, what I think Frank will go with. I think Frank will go with a similar team. I think one change. I think he'll make one change. So let's go through it. I think Frank will play Kinski in goal. Backline is exactly the same. Spence left back, Porro right back, Danson Van der Ven as the centre backs. No risk there. But then it's the formation change. I think Frank will play almost like a 4-2-3-1 as usual rather than the 4-3-3. I think he'll have Bentancur and Paulinho sitting in front of the back 4 with Bergvall just in front. I think he'll share that midfield. I think he'll also do the same as what I would do on the wings with Kudus on the right, Odegaard on the left. That's hard to predict, but I think he'll play Tell up top. And I don't think it'd be the worst idea, even though Tell at the moment isn't clearly performing, and like some Wani are and even Richarlison maybe. But Newcastle are a physical side, Dan Burn, Botman, they're physical. They're very, very physical. Joelinton too, the win headers. That's what Newcastle are all about. So for me, someone like a Richarlison doesn't work for Tottenham in this game, nor would Dominic Solanke, although I like him if he was fit. So Matthias Tell is a bit more ball to feet, which could really suit against Newcastle. So you could even argue Tell should start against Newcastle, and you wouldn't be stupid, I don't think, at all to say that. That's what I think Frank will look at and go with then. So that's the predicted team. Next, in this video, I've added something in new, and I don't know if I'll stick with it in the kind of the future, but it's to do with combined 11. So that means combined 11 between Tottenham and Newcastle, the best 11. And I've done 2. I've done one based on who's currently fit, so that excludes injured players, so just who's fit for both teams, then one with all players, including injured players. The first one, let's do the one with injured players, so Kulusevski's, etc., Livramento, for example. It's on the screen for you now. I'll go with Vicario over Pope. So let's read the team out there and talk about it. So Vicario, backline of Livramento, Romero, Van der Ven and Spence, predominantly Spurs. In fact, 4 out of the 5 are, including the goalkeeper. Kulusevski, Guimaraes, Tonali, Kudus, Automada and Gordon. There we go. Then let's just quickly work out how many Newcastle players have I got in there. So I've got Livramento, Guimaraes, Tonali, Automada, Gordon. So I've got one less with 5. Thinking behind that, Vicario for me just about edges it over Pope. I think Nick Pope's a fantastic goalkeeper. However, I think for me isn't all that with his distribution, nor is Vicario, but he just about edges it for me, the Italian. But it's super, super tough decision that's purely probably based on the club you support. Fullbacks is interesting because it's everyone that's fit. Right back isn't it, between, let's be honest, Porro and Livramento. Livramento I've been really impressed with. I like Porro, but Livramento has it going forward and also defensively, whereas Porro for me is a lot better than Livramento going forward. But where Livramento wins this battle is he also can defend very well. Whereas Porro's getting better, isn't quite there. I think we come back to this reverse fixture, Porro beats Livramento. Spence on the left-hand side, I like Hall, but Spence is just another level, can play both sides too. No-brainer. And Newcastle have got good centre-backs. Chow, Botman, whoever you want to put in there for Bichette, etc. But Mickey van der Ven and Romero, for me, I believe, is the best centre-back partnership, just about beating Arsenal's Gabriel and Saliba. So I didn't really have to think twice. I think Romero's taken the captain's armband really well. I think out of both teams is the best quality centre-back and the highest value centre-back. But Van der Ven, with his pace and is now scoring with his head, is quickly going to become even better, I do believe. Midfield then, this is super, super tough, let me tell you that. So, it's tough. Bruno Guimaraes has got to be in there. What a fantastic captain he is. I think he's a just amazing player, has it all. So for me, he was the first name I put down in the sheet. Kulusevski as well, I think when he's fit, can play the 10 and right wing. He was Tottenham's best player at times when he was fit. Certainly that first half of last season, people were quick to forget that. Has to be in there for me. Then it's tough, I was stuck between Tonali and Paulinho, but I went with Tonali because I think he's one of those difficult players to stop. Paulinho's a great player, but you know where you stand, that he's tough with tackling, whereas Tonali just a little bit of everything. He's like really hard to deal with. So that midfield three, Newcastle edge it with going with Guimaraes and Tonali as well as Tottenham's Kulusevski. Right hand side was quite a simple choice for me without any disrespect, because don't get me wrong, Newcastle have good players that can play that side, whether it be Elanga, whether it be Murphy, whoever it may be, Harvey Barnes, or even putting Gordon on the wrong side on the right. But Mohamed Kudus wins that for me. I think it's been an excellent signing for Tottenham and is an excellent player overall. Gordon on the left then, that's where Tottenham didn't replace Son lacking on that side, so I must admit it was a simple decision to go with a Newcastle player. It's just whether it's Gordon or Barnes. Watermada up top. I think Tottenham have some good strikers, certainly have depth, and I think Solanke over time would really suit a Frank system with balls coming into the box. But I think right now, Watermada is in fantastic form. And by the way, linking it back to the game in particular in this today, I just think it's so important that we stop Watermada creating, and I have confidence we'll do that even without Romero. I just think Van der Ven can deal with him. So that is my 11 then, with everyone fit. Now this is harder. This would be my 11 with players that just fit. So let's talk you through it. So you can see it on the screen. Vicario, a backline of Porro, Chow, Van der Ven and Spence, a midfield of Paulinho, Guimaraes and Tonali, an attack of Kudus, Watermada and Gordon. And my thinking behind this then is it's tough when you have players injured. So let's talk you through it. So Vicario and goal again, same situation with Pope. They're both fit, so they both start in both lineups. Porro over Livramento because Livramento's injured. I think that's quite a fairly simple choice. Same as Spence on the left. And go with Mickey Van der Ven. But of course Romero's injured. So Malik Chow comes in for Newcastle. Great bit of business, by the way, from AC Milan. Midfield then, Paulinho has been exceptional this season. Really harsh not to put him in the other team, to be honest with you. And I'll go with Guimaraes and Tonali, with Spurs missing the likes of Maddison, Kulusevski. That's again more dominated Newcastle midfield. Attack then, I believe is exactly the same. Kudus on the right, Gordon on the left, and Watermada down the middle. But is it the same? Have I also got 5 Newcastle players? Let's quickly work it out. Gordon, Watermada, Bruno Guimaraes, Tonali, Malik Chow. It's exactly the same. Not in terms of players, but in terms of the balance between both teams. But that is my honest combined teams. So there you go then. Get involved in the comments below with your combined teams, injured and not injured, fit, non-fit. And also your predicted 11, preferable 11, whatever you want to get involved with. But all I've got to do is score prediction. I think Carabao Cup is really, really important for Tottenham. Of course, all competitions are, but I think this is one that we could get past Newcastle. We can really win this competition, but this game is really, really big, and I can't express how tough it is. And the reminder, it goes straight into penalties. If it is a draw, I've got a feeling it will. So here's my prediction. I think it'll be 1-1 after 90 minutes. I think it will go into penalties, and Tottenham will win the shootout 4-3. Repeat, 1-1 after 90 minutes, 4-3 to Tottenham in penalties, extra time. And last time Tottenham were in a penalty shootout was, of course, it was a little while ago. It was PSG, but before that was, and then a big period before that. But there we go then. That is your match preview. Get involved in the comments below. Massive. Come on, you Spurs. This game is on normal TV as well as Sky Sports. Come on, Spurs.